Well, let's
ask about that picture you have right there.
As a matter of fact, you brought us a very special. Let's take a shot of this. Now, this is Nick with, of course, obviously Andre the Giant. If we could get a little tighter on that, the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, and that's in your WCW President days. Is that right?
No, that was when I WWF.
Oh, WWF.
For a while, I was with WWF, and he was showing.
He's directing you
to the restroom.
To the restroom.
Yeah.
The restroom is that way.
Now, you've also brought us a very select item here.
I'll come around.
Don, you want to step around and show them? If we could get a shot of what we have in front of the desk here. The champ was gracious enough to bring this one-of-a-kind item, and if we can, I don't know how we're lit down there, but if we can get Don out of the shot, and there's a good shot. Look at that. That's Andre the Giant's handprint in brass. And take a look at that shot. My God.
Okay, Don, here's what I tell people. Stay there. My wedding ring is a size 13. And the outer area of the ring would be size 14. Stick that up into the little end of the little finger of Andre the Giant.
End of the little finger.
There you go, folks.
And it just barely goes in.
Yeah.
And with room to spare.
Yeah, with room to spare.
Room to spare.
Yeah,
incredible. Really. And how did you pick that item up? Where did this?
This came from the estate of the promoter Paul Bosch in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And Paul was into these kind of things. And he caught Andre one time, I'm presuming, in a very good mood, and asked him to do this. And Andre was very, very accommodating and acquiesced, and they went to, put the hand in the sand and make the mold and the whole thing. And so that I have his foot at home, also his bare foot, and
in brass.
In brass. And so you can put your little piggies in there and see if they fit, and they don't.
So
yes, exactly. You can swim around, put them both in the same one. And but he, needless to say, they're collector's items, and I bought that from his estate, and very happy to have it. It's the only one in the world. The two of them are. So interesting, though.
What kind of a man was Andre?
Andre, in most of his years, he was really a big, fun-loving, overgrown teddy bear. He loved the wrestling game, and I think he treated it, again, we get to that mental aspect. If Andre wanted to concentrate, he'd have been world champion. Mm-hmm. But he just didn't get that into it that much. And he just traveled all over the world, and he just loved to eat and drink and party and have a good time and enjoy life, and he did. And somebody says, well, how did you wrestle somebody that big? I said, you don't wrestle him, you survive him. and I wrestled him here in Minneapolis one night for 1 hour. But then,
60-minute match.
Yes, but then, of course, my technique at that time was, all right, Andre, follow me. So for the first 15 minutes, you taunt him and get him to chase you, and then hope the hell he doesn't catch you. and then once he gets very tired, whether it's an elephant or a lion, and then, of course, as we were talking earlier, somebody said, well, how would, if he gets his hands on you? I says, well, you just don't let him get his hands on you. And then the other thing is that all ankles are the same size. And his, we will say, is bigger. But if you can take the elephant and you can damage the elephant's ankle, then the elephant can't do anything to you. You can get away from him.
Exactly.
And so that was kind of the premise that you would go after Andre with, at least my premise. And it worked.
Now, speaking of legends in the business, if we could get a shot of this one. Now, here's a guy that everybody knows, if we can get tight on that. And of course, there's the world's heavyweight champion putting the Bockwinkel sleeper.
Oh, yes.
Right.
On Hulk Hogan. And now, is there still a little animosity between you two? Is Hogan your...
what happens with old retired wrestlers is they all have this mutual respect for what each of them went through, whether they did it to each other, or they just know what I know what all the other guys went through, and they know what I went through, and we have all these broken up bodies, and so I think Hogan probably has that respect, but at the same time, the little thorn in his side was, I'm the only person he didn't beat.
That's right.
And consequently, in the back of his head, you know, I think he's now, in the past 10 years, has matured enough to realize, so it's not that big a deal, you know. And, but I mean, earlier on in his career, I think that he didn't like it. Plus, I did hear through the grapevine from one dressing room coming back to the other, he says he hated me, and he used very vulgar language and talking about the guy who, he says, I don't have that much hair left, and that Bockwinkel, he blah, 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 blah. And because every time I grab him by the hair, I mean, I get a handful, and, you know.
It's not your fault that he was missing it at that rate, right?
No, you know, and maybe he was PO'd because the dear Lord's been kind enough to give me a full head. You know, I don't, you know.
No, yeah, and you do have quite a mange.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that's a good point to take a little break here. Let's hear a few messages, and we're going to be right back with the world's heavyweight champion, Nick Bockwinkel. Let's take a break on the Prima-Donns.
This is Baron von Reschke. Every time I'm in the Twin Cities, I watch the Prima-Donns, Channel 32, 1030. Be there. That is all you need to know.
Hi everybody, I'm Mick Carson. I'm here to tell you that every Tuesday evening at 10:30, my family and I get together and watch the Prima-Donns on Channel 32 MTN. Don't we, kids?
No.
He said, you gotta obey the rules. Well, if a guy's kicking me in the face, the rule says I kick you back. Believe me, I'm not gonna stand there and let you do something to me that I can't do back. And that,
You heard it here.
my golden rule was do it to them before they do it to you. That's the way to win. But the idea is not win if you lose. Win if you can, lose if you must. But always make sure you're on top at the end.